BT, everyone! This is Walk Like a Mailman, a show for carriers, but not just for carriers. Here are your hosts in the Southwest studio, Griffin Walker, and in the Northwest studio, Jeffro the MC. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Taylor. Welcome to the number one postal-related podcast. Yes, how have you been, Griffin?
I've been all right. This is a busy week for me. Got some overtime traveling to Denver.
Cool. Okay.
I'm
doing great. Thank you for asking. So I'm excited for what we have on the show today.
Yeah.
Coming up, we have Shane coming on, and we have a review of the worst movie ever. So stay tuned. Stay tuned to find out what it is. Find out what the worst movie ever is. Don't look in the description.
You realize it's probably going to be in the description.
Don't look into the description. Just if you haven't,
don't look at the description of what the show is. Just listen to the show blindly.
Yes. I myself listen to podcasts and shows without checking the description first. If it is something that I am not new to, but if those who do know what it is, don't tell the others. But stay tuned and find out. And yes, it is related to mail carriers or letter carriers.
Well, of course it would be.
Was that?
Well, of course it would be.
Yeah. And we do. Yeah, it's a mail person of the show segment coming up with Shane. And it's got the worst movie ever review. So your first warning of spoilers. I'll give you one more before we start later with that. But speaking of things that are on the show previously, and you love going back to previous shows.
Oh, Lord, do we make mistakes again?
No. There was a full moon this month.
Was it a beaver moon?
Oh, damn. You screw the pooch. You got I was trying to set it up a little bit more. Yes, it's actually
the joke.
Apparently, it's a super moon.
Beaver moon?
So it's a super beaver. Oh, and it's November 15th. Isn't that today, November 15th? So I think
November 17th is today.
Oh, it's the 17th already? Jeez,
yeah.
I'm bad with dates. That's why when I fill out slips and I write dates for people to come to the station to pick up stuff, that's caused a hiccup here and there. But I guess it was November 15th, and it was a super beaver, and it's the last super moon of the year. So I didn't even stuff you learn just making a podcast. I guess it's different than a regular full moon. Boom. You learned that and heard it here on Walk Like a Mailman. But another reason why I want to bring it up is I've been slacking off or trying to, I usually check it, but maybe I just missed it. But we have some YouTube comments that came in.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And the first one, and it's ironic or coincidental that I see it. And the comment was from an Alan S. I believe you've met Alan S. I'm pretty sure this is the same guy, but
probably.
He wrote Beaver freaking clever. He's mentioning, I think it was on the Beaver Moon short on YouTube.
Yeah.
So if you haven't out there, just check out our YouTube page. We do have a lot of shorts that take things out of context that are pretty funny. Or if you just like to listen to the show, maybe in the background while you're perusing the interweb, we do have a YouTube page and socials. You can search Walk Like a Mailman in all the places. And I try to pair up, and we're going to have a little bit later as well, some visuals, and anything that's visual on the show. I always try to pair it up with all of the social media accounts. So give those a gander. But we do have one more YouTube comment, and this one hit deep. So it's from a handle that's Headless Gunner. So I'm like,
Oh,
okay, this is a little okay. The headless gunner is messaging our YouTube page. Get my get my icon or my pointer over the flag icon. No, I'm playing. So apparently, headless gunner is a person that had Chris from Dalles, Oregon.
mm-hmm.
He actually, that was his mailman at some point.
Oh,
And
really?
he found not only our podcast, but he found our YouTube and found the episode that Chris starred on.
Yeah, I'm pretty
So,
sure I put a short up for when Chris was on there.
yeah. So it says Chris used to be my mail carrier in Oregon. He was literally the best, most conscientious mailman we have ever had. Dude is just a super hard worker. We sadly had to move, and we miss him so much. Even after we moved away and screwed up the package forwarding, Chris always went I got on 2 pages here, rookie mistake. He went the extra mile to make sure we got them at the new address. So even Chris is knocking it out of the park with the forwarding system. That is so hard when you have a former person, a resident move away, and you got to forward stuff, and there's some postage dues. But if the person's really cool, you can help them out a little bit and try to make them avoid that. I don't know. It's a sticky situation. So Chris even did what he normally does, which is very good stuff there. We see him around town every so often, and it always makes us happy. Thank you so much for your service. We really miss our chats with you and your superior level of service. Hope you are well, Chris. So that was floored me. I was whoa. So I'm totally proud and happy that not only did we find Chris and he reached out to the show, but that we were able to kind of get involved with seeing the kind of relationship that these residents build up with mail carriers throughout the years, so
That's a great story to hear about.
yeah. And that's exactly why we like this show, and we try to put all of these resources out there, so then that way that could be the driving message of what Walk Like a Mailman is. So with that being said, I'm gonna get I gotta have a stiff upper lip. Anyway, yeah, I'm that hit deep. And shout out to you, Chris, out there. You definitely changed someone's life for the better, and
We'd
that's
love
what
to
we're
have you
all
back
about here.
on.
What?
We'd love to have you back on.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of, we are gonna have a guest next week. I'm not sure if I'm gonna remember to say that later on. So just in case I don't, we have a guest on next week, and we have worked out the details of that. But Chris, yes, we would love to have you back on and give you a little bit more roses, because obviously people out there are showing you some love. So, but let's head to the street. What do we got to do before we head to the street?
Check out the hot case.
Check out that, I was gonna say turkey case, but I think a lot of our show is gonna be a little premature. I think last week was Veterans Day. The week before that was the election day, and then
Yeah,
before
there's
that
still
was
another
Halloween.
week before Thanksgiving.
I know, but it just seems that, and this is a little lead in. Check out the hot case. This is, you got the picture, right? So the pictures.
Yes, I got the pictures.
What's in the first picture?
It looks like a pumpkin that has a turkey made into a turkey, I guess.
Yeah. So I witnessed this while delivering to this house a couple of times. I've been to this house more than a couple of times. First, it was just a pumpkin on their front porch around Halloween. Then, after Halloween happened, they decided to add a bunch of other components, and they look like they're just basically like skewers that you just like stab into the pumpkin, but
Yeah.
the back skewers look like feathers, and then the front skewer is like a face, like a turkey head.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty clever and it's cool. But this is the reason why I took it, and the reason why I'm sending it. Oh, rant incoming. So personal foul. Like I said before, pumpkins are for carving for Halloween, not Thanksgiving. Do you see my frustration here, first of all, or is this just going to be you like splashing cold water on me like throughout the
No,
next?
no, I'm with you there. I'm with you there.
Yeah, for all the
Thanksgiving's more of a squash holiday.
yeah, and okay, so Jack Skellington in The Nightmare Before Christmas, he goes into like the enchanted forest and all that. Oh, and the Christmas tree or the Christmas tree, the tree trunk. That is it. That's actually I didn't even think about the tree inception that's happening. But anyway, the Christmas trunk has a Christmas tree on it, and so that's like the logo. That's the emblem of Christmas. Is that's like that's what everyone thinks of. The symbolism is a Christmas tree. And then and then I could see why a pumpkin, a jack-o'-lantern is what the symbolism is for Halloween. It's a pumpkin for Halloween.
Yeah,
And have you seen the movie Nightmare Before Christmas?
not in a very, very long time.
Okay, just make a gander of a guess. What do you think the thing is on the tree that signifies, because he pans over it quickly? What do you think the thing is that is for Thanksgiving?
Probably a turkey.
A turkey! Bing, bing, bing. Exactly. So sorry. For all the people that have pumpkins on your front porch, I don't like to call out residents on the show that I deliver to or are my customers, but for all the pumpkin porch people, you suck. I don't like you, and I don't like your decisions in life. It is probably, and I don't like even using the pet peeve term, but it is a pet peeve. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday of all time. There's no other holiday. It's deeply ingrained in me.
Why do you love Thanksgiving so much?
It's football, family, and fun.
Just three F's.
Yes, it's effing family. I just enjoy it. It's right at that moment in life Christmas is cold and it's way blown out. It's completely just it's over sensitized. Everything is just it's just too much. It's just like lights and music and everything's blasting in your face. Halloween is cool, but it's I like it. And then there's other holidays, 4th of July, but Thanksgiving is what I picture in my head is what a holiday should stand for. And I love to decorate for it too. Don't get me wrong. I just disagree that pumpkins should be involved, especially with outdoor decorations.
I agree with you there.
If they're on your porch, what happens? Okay, so like, oh yeah, like I like to decorate it's a fall thing, so I'm gonna put pumpkins on my front lawn and all of this. And then it moves to December. What are you going to do? Are you just going to toss all of those pumpkins? Or all of them you're just going to throw away and waste all of those pumpkins? You're going to waste them without even carving them? Oh, what shame.
Do you remember when I told you about my one of my neighbors who has a giant skeleton out in front of his house? And I keep wondering, is he going to like put some kind of turkey feathers on the thing so that the HOA doesn't nag about it?
Yeah, like he's got like the and I like decorations for Thanksgiving. It's my favorite holiday. But yeah, there's ones in the neighborhood where it's a turkey, and there's even ones that are like even funny, and the turkey's on the front yard and he's got a sign and it says "Not yet Christmas." And there's one that's on my route, and it's a scarecrow, but they're like blow up ones, or they're little fall things, and people have wreaths with leaves and pine cones. I like fall themed decorations. I think of pumpkins just sitting on someone's front porch, and all they're doing is they're just going going bad, like they're wilting away, or like they're corroding from the inside, and you're just letting them there, and you're not even going to carve them. You're not going to, turn them into a pumpkin pie. It's just, I never mind. You know
There
what?
you go. That's another Thanksgiving tradition, pumpkin
Yeah,
pie.
I love pumpkin pie, but you're not going to let your pumpkin go sour and turn to mush and goo on your front porch and then turn it into a pumpkin pie. That's not what the people are just. And I think a lot of it has to do with neighborhood too, because certain neighborhoods, and I think it's becoming more prevalent, that pumpkins are just being put on front porches. And I am trying to be. This is all for show. I agree with the sentiments that I'm saying, but maybe not to the level of disdain for the people that are doing it. I understand why you're doing it. If you're out there and you have pumpkins on your front porch, I get it. I just don't agree with it. Let's just agree to disagree. Pumpkins are for Halloween, turkeys are for Thanksgiving, and Christmas trees are for Christmas. That's just I'm not a fan of them. Okay, but anyway, let's get to mail related things. So the next pictures that I had sent to you, what's on the docket for?
It looks like kind of like a cassette cartridge, but it's like a giant thing because it's got paper and stuff kind of wrapped in it.
Yeah, for people, and for the things that I'm talking about right now, I will be posting these on socials, but I'm just going to explain them real quick because you are listening right now. What it is they're letter sorting machines, and there's millions of letters per day going through this machine. And what happens is they get jammed. That's
Oh,
just
okay, I see.
the pure nature of it. But when it gets jammed, a lot of times it's because a thick boy goes through the machine. Like someone wants to mail some kind of special thick card, or like they want to send a pack of trading cards through the mail or something, or they want to do something. What it reminds me of a lot, and like maybe like as a PSA, people like to be a little, I don't want to say pretentious, but it's very, like, so cutesy, and oh, I'm doing this. They still do like the wax seal on the back of an envelope.
Mm-hmm.
And what that actually does is the wax seal is a thing of yesteryear where they didn't have sorting machines. But you put a big old hunkin glob of wax and it dries on the back of an envelope, and then it goes through the sorting machines. It's going to get caught, or a lot of times it's the reason why these machines get caught. So what, a little bit further down, you see like actually letters that have gone into my DPS, and I even sent you a picture of a DPS as like a refresher what a DPS is like. So we get these trays of our regular letters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And every once in a while, and I call it, I don't know if there's an actual like a term that people maybe there's like a technical, but I call it the black dust. And what happens is if you get mail that is involved with one of the jams, it'll come with all these black streaks all over it. Like it's one of those where mail carriers are going to know exactly what I'm talking about. To the people, to the laymen out there, or lay women out there, we get like this mail every once in a while, like every 2 or 3, maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, but it's about that frequency. And one day you'll go in through your DPS, like your regular letters, and you'll get all these black streaks, and 1/3 of your whole entire DPS is covered in this black soot. It's like this little like crumbly. You see the pictures there, right? I took of that happened to me last week. I was like, you know what? I'm going to talk about the black dust. And that's what I always call it. So I like, sometimes the supervisors are like, oh, like, why'd you take extra overtime today? And I was like, I had the black dust in my DPS. So, but that's what happens is, and the biggest obstacle that the jammed machines and the black dust creates is your DPS will be out of order. So it takes forever to just go through them and then reorganize all of the stuff in your DPS will most likely be for your day, for your travel, for your your route, but you'll just be out of order. So, let's just say it's like house 1 through 10. When the black dust happens, you'll go through the DPS and you'll have, house number 7, house number 3, house number 4, house number 2, house number 9, house 10, so like you have to go through and manually sort your mail that day. Or you could just bring it back to the station and then do it later. But it depends on how bad it is. But it's you get banged in a pretty big spot when you have the black dust. And that was, the back end of what we have in today's hot case. Can you think of anything else that you would call it other than the black dust, Griffin?
I mean, it's kind of like mold almost, but I don't think that's really applicable here.
It's like you call the insurance. You're like, my DPS has the black mold.
There's mold in them walls.
Yes. So, but we do have a pretty full show on the other end. So let's get into a break here. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, and we have a sponsor this week. Ooh.
Who's the sponsor, Jeff?
Yes, the sponsor is a good old game of catch. I have a daughter, and she's a toddler. I have a toddler daughter. Anyway, I'm trying to get her good at playing catch with me, which now it consists of me throwing the ball or object, and I am proud of her. I'm always proud of her when I always point to my 2 kids.
That sounds like there's a butt coming.
Yeah. I point to my 2 kids. There's pride and then there's joy. And I just point to each of them. There's my pride and my joy. And yeah, even the one that's drooling over there. Yeah, that's joy. Anyway, she's getting really good at catching it. Then I throw it to her, she catches it. I'm like, yes, we're there. We're almost there. Then she rifles it off in various directions. It's so I then have to track the item down, the ball or whatever, and bring it back all before she loses complete interest in this whole process and we have to start from scratch again. So that's this week's sponsor. I didn't really believe I think I was going to go on that long of a tangent about it, but and Thanksgiving is coming up. Speaking of the Turkey Day, not Pumpkin Day, it's one of the traditions that I miss the most. You and me used to throw a good old game of catch on Thanksgiving. We did that every year.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to do that when you come in town for the Super Bowl, and we'll have to do a good old game of catch. This week's sponsor. Yeah, and this is your last one. There are spoilers on the worst movie ever on the other side of the break. And next week we do have a guest. So stay tuned for all of that. And stay tuned with what we have left on the rest of the show.
See you guys after the break.
Oh, Rusty G, everybody, the LLV. And he brought a guest. Who is this? Oh, he's getting out of the LLV. And Shane, is that you?
Yes, that is me. With coming out of my trusty LLV.
You were saying earlier that the actual, as rough as it may sound, still sounds better than half of the LLVs or the other ones are FFVs or something like that.
FFVs. Honda got mad that we called them CRVs. Whatever, Honda. Suck you know what. So
but that's
fuck on the tailpipe, Honda.
So I mean, normally you have to put it in neutral, feather the gas a little bit, whisper some sweet nothings. Then turn it, let it chug for a little bit, and then take it off, then shift it into drive, then try to start it in drive, but it won't start. So then you go back to neutral and then start it, and then it works just fine. So.
And then you tell the supervisor, and then they spend 45 minutes trying to find you a ProMaster to use. So that's...
Oh, no, I hate ProMasters, so yeah.
Yeah. So why are you here, Shane?
to discuss.
Wait. Actually, I have something for this. Okay.
Characters through the TV go, delivering stories on the go. It's the male person of the show. Griffin tried to kill me. I'm still here. Male person of the show. Of the show.
Oh, isn't that nice? It's having your own intro for the show, Shane.
So now I don't even have to explain why I'm here anymore.
So I don't have to get mad at you for no reason at all. But of course, this is how it starts. First, you come on more often, then you want longer segments, and then now you have your own intro.
What is this? What is this me thing? I only show up when you guys tell me to.
Why are you telling me that this is a narrative that I play out for the show, and I actually just call you and say, "Hey, do you want to do a male person of the show?"
Yeah, exactly.
So, you told your listeners that I was a month behind, so now I'm caught up. So I know all your shenanigans you've been talking about.
Yeah, but remember, as you're trying to take over the show, that majority vote wins the House, and day one policy as soon as Griffin gets in office is that he's going to remove this male person of the show. So I'm the dam that's keeping the male person of the show on the podcast. So
Okay, perfect. Yeah, as long as there's a salmon run in there, we'll call it good.
yes, we are. I'm the thing that's keeping this all intact, is what I tell myself at night before my head hits the pillow.
Who is the male person of the show, Shane?
Jeff, this is your male person of the show, so
you don't want to take responsibility for this one?
Yeah, I don't even know, it's something that's beyond the stars in the universe. It came to me like I was on peyote in the middle of the desert. I have no idea how I found this movie, but just like I warned in previous parts, this is probably the worst movie ever. And it's called The Mail Lady. And it's directed by Andre Ray, which I'm whatever. That a lot of this is just going to be, it's pretty scathing, I would imagine, how it's going to turn into. But as I learned more about the film, it was pretty much certain that I was just going to hate watch it, that just spend the whole time bagging on it. And Rachel was there with me and just laughing out loud. It just, laughing at scenes that I'm sure that wasn't the intent, is that they're trying to be serious and it's trying to be a serious film, but it was just absolute. It was a pain. And it was like an endurance test just to get to the end of it. So the name of the movie is The Mail Lady, and it came out in 2023. The male person of the show, Sloane, is the character. But I believe her name, the actress's name, is Molly Anderson. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so that's my setup. And then we're going to just probably take turns just bagging on and totally throwing shade at this movie, I'd assume. So let's start with the person that has the most rage built up in himself, Griffin. What do you want to say about the movie? I figured we would kind of go along.
You want to start with me because I'm usually the crabby one when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be me with the most rage built up against this.
I don't have a lot of rage about this movie. I just felt really creeped out by this movie.
Yeah, okay.
It was creepy.
And that's what it
was uncomfortable watching this movie. And I'll admit I was on edibles when I was watching this too.
Go ahead.
I was creeped out at a lot of this movie. Just there was some real cringe in there, especially with the whole like ASMR sequences in there. way too overt.
I think that the most unanimous thing, and Shane, would you agree? Me, Rachel, now Griffin, every time that the ASMR things happened, it was cringe. There was no.
I mean, I like some ASMR as an auditory person, and like that was just it was literally the worst. Like I fast forwarded through the first one because I was like, I just cannot deal with this. So
I understand and I see how that it is. I mean, there are worse fetishes out there as far as the ASMR. It was just portrayed very. I think it even didn't give that sector of society that enjoys that.
it's normally not a sexual thing. It's just like a very pleasurable like thing to listen to asexually.
Yeah, they kind of it cheapened the enjoyment out of that process when you watched it from like a third person, when it's not something that I usually see the value out of it. So when you're there's that level, and then on top of it, how it's portrayed and how it's done very poorly as far as the movie goes, it really just doesn't give a very good light.
I will say it was funny when she had to say what ASMR meant at the beginning of the movie.
Oh yeah. Explain it to the crowd.
It was like she was reading it off of a cue card, and she's like, "Yes, I got it this time."
It's like, how long have you been doing this again?
Yeah. And when the whole thing has been going through, when we were going through scene to scene, I viewed Sloane, the main person, the male person, as actually not having the worst like acting chops out of all of them. That's the actor, Derek, and he's played by a Will Coleman. I felt like his acting was just god awful. It was
they both were. I think all three of them, his wife, him, and Sloane were. I think they all really tried to one up each other, in my opinion. How terrible they could be.
One down each other.
But Sloane, I felt at least was somewhat.
How with that weird the weird sex eye she tries to give him in like the very first scene. I'm like, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah,
like, this is what you're going with.
But
like,
he had this like constant thing where he was trying to like sell, like, what's the actor, now it's probably like on my head or in my mind, who's the guy? He's in The Wire, he's also Gandalf in Thor or whatever that guy's name is.
Idris Elba.
Heimdall.
Yeah.
Idris Elba.
It was
Heimdall,
like
by the way.
Okay. It was like he was like a poor man version of, like, he was trying to play this like smooth and suave debonair, and when you lack the real acting chops like that actor, it doesn't come off very well. And not only does it not come off, but it's very one dimensional as far as like your appreciation of him in the movie. You just see him as like, okay, I see what they're trying to represent here, but he cannot follow through or represent that with his actual like you just can't believe it. It's just
I just couldn't believe this guy's lifestyle. Like, he is this jacked guy who like knows advanced car stuff. Like, we're talking like automated car stuff. And he also plays video games and has time for a family. And I'm like, how are you pulling all of those things together?
Yeah,
and is like the family guy because his wife is like the sellout social media person too.
And he's a Bible thumping guy, because he's like always thanking the Lord every single day too. He has to go to church and all that stuff. And
dude. I mean, you got to thank the Lord when you're to your mail carrier. So
okay, that's that's not how I thought the first one was gonna be. But Shane, thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can't ask me to watch this movie and expect nothing like that to happen. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to put
A little timestamp there
parental
for
advisory on this episode.
yeah.
just give me just Rusty over the top of all my shenanigans. So
Uh, but the male person of the show, and so let's get one little mini part here of bagging on this movie before we want to. I want to like the whole purpose of this is to compare it to the life of like an actual mail carrier, and to give like a regular synopsis. It's about this guy. He's in a very suburban scene. He's a stay-at-home dad. He's basically just at home working from home, being on the computer, doing Zoom calls and all of this business. And then he starts to basically start kindling like some flirting with his mail carrier, which is this, and it's even represented in the show where it's like a CCA or a PTF. Like she's new to the job, and then it starts to go further than he expects it or is interested in, or that he thinks it's going to go. And then it starts to turn a little stalkerish. So from that, let's just give it one little more. Let's roast it just one little more bit, and then we'll start to do some things maybe we noticed about her, this movie trying to portray a mail carrier.
Okay, can I just talk about the whole red makeup thing?
Yeah,
Because like,
it's supposed to
why
be a
was she
devil,
wearing
yeah.
red makeup at the end of the movie?
I think there was
I know. I kept thinking like the budget was like we only have enough for one type of makeup, so we're gonna use the red makeup we used in the earlier scene at the end, even though like no military person would ever wear like bright red makeup on their face like that.
I mean, it looked more maroon, but I also absolutely agree with you. So
yeah, I think it was just like kind of like a call to the previous thing, where the previous scene is what Griffin's mentioning, is that she finds out that he has an interest in cosplay and like certain anime characters or certain characters, and one of the characters
Oh, I thought she was just trying to be Satan.
no, I think she was trying to like cosplay, and she was basically trying to imitate a character that she saw in his. I forgot how the previous scene where like she was
you're
creeping.
right. You're right, though, Griffin. She is like a basically like a succubus,
Like
essentially.
everything is all red and everything. All of her
Yeah.
cards were red. It was like a motif with this woman, except that like a military veteran would not wear freaking red makeup on their face when they're going on a assignment.
Yeah, and
You're more camouflagey than that.
and that goes a little bit more into the guy, because once the actual act happens and he starts to cross the boundary with his mail carrier, and then she starts to take it a little too far. He has, I guess, some rando dude that's really good at background checks. I don't know. That's very convenient.
His friends, his video game playing friends.
Yeah. And he's able to pull up info on her as she's like a veteran, and it's like a special ops, special like crazy, and whether or not that's believable, because there's not like an actual type that you would say.
To be honest, this is no different than any Steven Seagal movie, because he always has this like this pedestrian kind of profile, and then it's like you find out he's this super black ops CIA agent guy, but he's actually like the cook on the ship.
It's like, don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah, every single Steven Seagal movie's got that plot line. So I don't find it as far fetched that the mail carrier is actually like this professional hit woman.
And then she starts to give him like unsolicited gifts, and she's really invasive and gets really crazy. And then let's just skip to the end, because I think people out there listening, and I urge people to watch this movie. Don't watch this movie as like you're going into it and you're gonna check
I urge
out.
people not to watch this movie.
No,
so
I'm going to agree
that's-
with Shane on this one. Don't watch this movie. This is really bad.
I had a good time. See, that's the
All
type
right.
of personality
I didn't.
One
I'm
watch,
I
and,
was
one watch and
creeped
two
out.
no watches right now. So
Yes. Speaking about voting, yeah, this is what the show will be like if I'm not around. Is just them telling you not to do things.
because we
say
have your best interests at heart. So
have a drink, have a smoke, do something, just get in the mindset, and
then watch a movie you want to watch. How does that not make sense?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
okay, but the
Edibles aren't
reason-
going to make this movie good for me, then it's not worth it.
Okay, so at the very end of the movie, spoilers again. I mentioned it earlier, but just in case, and then a lot of this is spoilers, but this more specifically, at the end of the movie, she basically ups the ante. It's like escalation. It's like any kind of stalker. If you don't stop someone, they're going to raise the ante, and she basically attacks the family. And
Yeah.
she comes out and
Wearing that red makeup again.
wearing the red making, attacking the wife. The husband steps in. He actually gets on top of her, and she pulls out a knife and stabs him in the side, which I thought was like almost like they had the ending to this movie, and then they decided, hey, how are we going to waste someone's life for like an hour and 15 minutes to get to this final part? And
and our whole entire premise will be the best way to tell this story is to make it a mail carrier who does all this random
and
because
then
that's realistic.
and then as he's like whatever, like still tussling with this mail lady, the wife picks up, and I thought it was pretty.
How did she not kill that woman?
I don't
it was
know,
funny.
Whacked her in
I
the
really-
head like 10 times with
I
a
really don't
freaking
know.
metal thing or something.
No, it was a set of praying hands. It was like a metal statue of
Yeah,
two
exactly.
hands
A
praying.
metal statue. You whack the person in the
She
head
just-
10 times. How does she not die from that?
And she
Yeah.
just goes to town on Sloan, the mail carrier's head, just over and over and over again.
Which also, she's been shot at this point in time too.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, and the mom or the wife
No,
has
she had.
been
I don't think
shot.
she had been shot yet.
Well, someone got shot.
Well, she
Oh
got
yeah,
shot.
no, it was. I
next.
think it was after. I think because they thought she was dead, and then
Okay.
Sloan got up and shot her, and then that was how she was able to escape the scene.
Yeah.
And-
By the way, did the mom die or not at the end of the movie? Like that was never revealed.
No, they didn't, because the only other scene after it, and I actually thought this was, it was well played as far as like a scene and an idea and a twist. And whether or not you saw it coming, I enjoyed the actual execution of the scene where she goes nuts. They have to beat her down, and then what happens at the very end?
Really? You're gonna make me do it? Well, she
Yes.
winds up being pregnant, and she mails him a letter and is like, "Oh, I'm pregnant. I'm still stalking you, by the way."
Yeah, so the guy goes to his mailbox, he takes out a letter, and in the letter is a pregnancy test. And then it flashes to her. She's in some kind of other, it looks like another state or another locale, and she's delivering mail, and she's got a baby bump. And I thought that was a pretty good twist to the end of the movie. If it wasn't for that, so let's do especially with Shane. I don't know, like, unless Griffin, did you notice like what type of perception did you get as her as a mail carrier in the actual show?
I thought it was ironic that we were talking about a lot of veterans as mail carriers last week on the show, and then this crazy woman happens to end up being a mail carrier who is a veteran.
Yeah.
I think that set us back for a while, because a lot of veterans who are mail carriers are, normal, highly functional individuals that are just trying to help their communities out.
Yeah. And Shane was saying something, we were like talking about off air about this movie, and Shane said that, or I'll let you tell it. Like, what did you say, Shane, about her being a veteran, and then like basically the only two things that are believable in this movie?
Yeah, so I guess the interesting thing is, first of all, he reports her for misconduct and stalking twice, which I just read a bunch of articles on the USPS's response to mail carriers being accused of stalking, and it never gets to the point of people trying to murder people's family. They normally get arrested, like, and charged, and then it goes through the legal process before it even gets to any of the touching. But the only thing that I thought was ironically funny is that she never gets fired, which is pretty so.
It goes to show the strength of the union that she stalks him, sends him unsolicited gifts, totally like even stabs him and shoots the wife. And then the last scene is that she's still delivering mail. It's just like, so yeah, well, that's how that goes. And then of course that she's a veteran and that she was, it's almost like there's little hints of everything, but nothing. It was, to even call it half-assed is to give it way too much credit.
Well, it's just a step backwards, too, because the movie implies that mail carriers are psycho, burnt-out war vets who commit mail fraud, by the way, and credit card fraud, and stalk you.
And I bet you she didn't pay for all that postage for all those boxes that she was giving to people, so... Anyway.
Well, not only that, she literally steals their credit card, runs it up, and then, leaves it back on the thing. I'm just like, I mean,
well, that's how she got the money for the red makeup.
The Postal Service wants to blow the logo out. So
yeah, and I like how when she wanted the wife to find it, she didn't put it in the mailbox. She put it on the front porch, which I was like, what? Like, I don't know. So
already open too, and she's just like, oh, that seems normal. Here's my credit card.
Yeah. Did you notice what Sloane used? Like, did you notice that what her scanner was in the movie?
No, I tried not to pay attention to that woman as much as possible.
She had an iPad. So anytime she needed to sign, and then her ProMaster was just a regular old van with a bunch of pegboards in the back. Did you notice that?
It looked like a mattress that was being used for construction. And then they're like, oh, let's slap a USPS logo on this thing and just hang tubs randomly in it so she can throw a temper tantrum and throw stuff all over the place.
Yeah, but it was all pegboards. It looked like my dad's garage with like a whole bunch of tools should be hanging from it. It's just pegboards all around. Every single surface had a pegboard in the back of a van, and I was like, what is that? And instead of shelves like a ProMaster would have, they just hung tubs like on the pegboards, and I was just like, what? And speaking of like the logo, they a lot of things, they had it was almost like they were planning on getting approval from the post office.
Who in their, I don't know who in their right mind would have thought that was even a possibility given the message of the movie.
Yeah, and then they pulled it at the last second or something, or at some juncture. So whenever, and Sloane, the protagonist, actually had a male person.
Pretty sure she's the antagonist. I'm pretty sure Derek is the protagonist.
I would say antagonist, yeah. But as far as the lead role, she had a regular postal uniform on. You could tell it was just very
the top though, because she was wearing some khakis on the bottom. I never
with khakis. But anytime they panned to her, and you could actually see where the postal logo, the United States Postal Service logo, is, they blurred it. It was almost like they were trying to protect the innocent in the movie.
But not only that, another inaccuracy is in the morning when it's tries to show, what sorting the mail would be like, to put it in the satchel, which I'm pretty sure her satchel is just a, what do you call those? Canvas bags. Yes, it's a tote bag. Exactly. Thank you.
What I have written down is it's a tote from Whole Foods. That's basically what she had as a satchel. And and the way that she carried mail, she just, the whole entire movie only had about 7 letters in her hand, maybe a package. and then she just carried it like it was.
Well, then at the beginning of the day, she's not even it just shows her going through what would be your like loose flats at your case. And she's just picking things out randomly and throwing it in her tote. And that's how you organize the mail to go deliver it.
Yeah. So obviously there wasn't a lot of research, and that's why I enjoyed it. I enjoyed hate watching it just to make fun of all the different things that it feels like they tried to, but they either didn't have the budget or they just couldn't get there. They couldn't get to second base as far as making an actual male person in a movie. Like Poetic
I'm not even
Justice.
sure they got the first base, Jeff.
Yeah, like
they got all the way to home plate, honestly.
But like in Poetic Justice, it's the complete opposite. I felt the realism of the character being like Tupac being an actual mail carrier in the movie.
Well,
But with
Poetic Justice was actually made by competent people.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure the budget was there,
snaps.
but the point is that I don't think you need a very high budget to illustrate like a proper mail carrier in a movie, and it completely failed at it. So let's just rate this and then move along, because let's just erase this from our existence, from it off of the world.
Okay.
So Griffin, what would you rate it?
-5 stars.
I was gonna go negative, Griffin.
You can't like let's just say you're on Amazon. The lowest that you could give it is 1 out of 5. 1 would be the what you would rate it.
-1 star.
It's like those stupid reviews where it's like, if I could give it 0 stars, I would. Like, yeah, I appreciate that. You could have just said you didn't like it. Okay. So you didn't like it.
No.
Shane, both of you just give it negative, however
If I
many.
could give it 0 stars, I would.
Would you say that both of you, would you say that this movie is the worst movie you've ever seen?
No, because I've seen The Room, so.
No, I feel like I've probably seen some worse Italian movies over the years.
Oh yeah, dude, they do like Italian movies get into art for art's sake in a very hard way sometimes. So
Yeah. I remember this movie that an old friend of mine got me called The Eerie Midnight Horror Show. That movie was awful.
Yeah.
That movie was probably worse than this, but not by much.
Oh,
yeah,
so
the thing about the Italian films is it's like 3 hours long too.
Yeah.
for being actually like something worth time of people listening to this and an actual rating system, as opposed to just saying -100, you could just give it 1 out of 10. Like that's
Well, yeah, but I gave Poetic Justice 2 out of 10, and this movie was like a million times worse than Poetic Justice.
Yes, that is the whole reason why you should have looked at Poetic Justice and appreciated what you had at the time. I'll give it 2 out of 10, just because like you guys have said, I've seen worse movies than this. So the worst movies than this are
maybe like 1 or 2 worse movies, not many.
Yes, but this would be 2. It would be 1 if it wasn't for the ending, and I feel like the whole even writing of it followed this guy Derek way too much. I wanted to see more of the crazy. I wanted to see more of her process of being, obsessed. I wanted to see the dolls in her closet and the shrine that she made to him.
I thought we were going to get like a flashback of her whole team being blown up in Iraq or something.
Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious they only had enough money for that one house.
Yeah, that's true.
that's a good point.
Which they show the address so clearly all throughout the movie. Front of the house address, front of the house address. And then she calls 911 and gives a completely different address from the address that's on the front of the house.
Oh,
you couldn't even get that one thing right.
That's the one. That's the gold of thank you, Shane. At least that's made it all worthwhile. It's funny. There's like CCAs. Am I right? No, I'm just joking. Anyway, let's move on here.
Like they made showing the address like such a part of the house, and then the one time where they say the house's address, they just completely make up a different number.
Yeah, and this is why I wanted to do this, because if this is what it takes for you guys to watch a crappy movie and for us to get raging on it, it was worth it to me. If it evokes emotion and it evokes content from you guys,
that good movies do the same thing too, right?
No, that's well, maybe we'll have a good movie next time, but I specifically enjoy crappy movies. When I watch it, it's like stress free. I probably even go more in detail and watch it to a closer, like, fine tooth comb than I would a regular, like, high budget movie, because I enjoy that the other side of the card, or the blade that cuts both ways. I enjoy just ragging on movies and making fun of it and going, okay, you're a 1, just get to a 2, just get to being the not worst movie I've ever seen in my life. But anyway, let's move on here. Let's move to the last segment of the day. Grab your satchel, remember your dog spray, and rattle that game. It's time for the underdog tally mark game of the week. So it's my pick this week, and I did message earlier that Tyson over Paul. I wanted to get this. Did any of it? Did Shane? I know Griffin was in the air. He was catching a bird at the time. So Shane, did you check out the fight?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I'm not a big boxing guy, so I just FYI on that.
Yeah, I didn't know. And if you were, I probably am the biggest boxing fan in our group. It was a lot of wish casting. This pick was definitely wish casting for me. I like that Paul is influencing and doing and bringing a certain crowd and demographic to boxing. But I thought when I watched it and I saw Tyson get in the ring and he had that blank expression on his face, I was like, oh, this doesn't appear to be
a fixed fight is what it was.
I think it was a money grab, and it definitely looked like it. And within the first 2 seconds when Paul walked up and Jake Paul give him a quick little 1-2 jab, and then started to do the circle, loop-de-loos around Tyson, and Tyson really couldn't keep up with him. I was like, oh, this is gonna go exactly how it went. But anyway, Griffin, what's your pick?
I picked the Chiefs over the Buffalo Bills.
And
spicy. I mean, they got 12 people on their team, so that should help.
Yes, and one has one of the players always has a striped uniform on.
Exactly.
I got it. Nailed it.
Nailed it. There you go, Jeff.
Anyway, you usually like to give an update. That game started, right, already? No, it hasn't.
I don't think so. I think it's a 1:30 start time. So I don't.
Yeah, it's a late game. Okay, and Shane has picked. Shane, who did you pick?
I picked the Browns over the Saints, and they are at the New Orleans 22 with
Saints
2
are
minutes
up
and
28-14
seconds left. So there's a chance, but it's not looking good.
Saints are up 28-14 when I looked last.
So the Saints are winning, actually?
Yeah, the Saints are winning. Yep.
And
there was some controversy on this pick, by the way.
There's a flag on the field.
Yeah, a flag on the field because somehow the Browns opened as 2-point favorites and were 2-point favorites when I checked this morning.
And
but somehow they became underdogs and then became favorites again.
And
earlier this week, they were 1-point underdogs. So,
and it's funny knowing Griffin. When Shane texted me, I don't know what the actual wording was, but the wording was... I
can tell you what the wording was. I was like, hey, do I have to wait till Sunday or can I pick the Browns right now today, which was like Tuesday or whatever?
And what was my response?
Take a screenshot of it.
That was exactly what I did. I was like, yeah, it should be no problem. and I didn't type it. My thumbs didn't execute that wording, but in my mind, I was like, Griffin. If it does go the other way, like the line does move throughout the week, I was like, I'll screenshot it. So I did, and it's funny that the screenshot actually came into use later on because Griffin did call you out. So we do have our very first controversy.
It doesn't even matter because they're gonna lose anyway. Stupid.
Yes.
Yeah, we didn't know that at the time.
Yeah, this will forever be referenced as Tallygate.
No, I was saying like stupid to myself, not to you, Griffin. So.
And I don't have it here. What is do you know your total record?
I think I'm 1 in. I had 2 athletics games that I lost, so I'm 1 in 2.
Yeah, 1 and 2, and then if this goes well for you,
Fine.
you'd be 500. But
Yes, I would be if it does. So.
good luck with that. Anyway,
Exactly.
so Jeffro is 19 and 21. Griffin currently is 21 and 19, remaining the underdog, tally mark game leader, and Shane is 1 and 2. So, Griffin, your attention grabbing acknowledgement of 10 seconds. Sorry, Rachel, I love you. I'm going to give it to Shane. He came on here and he's a guest, and unless you want to keep it, and
I'll keep it. I'm the winner. I get to keep it.
I don't.
All right.
I did
Griffin.
it.
You don't have the topics this week, or does Shane have a topic?
I don't have
that he
any
wants to talk
topics.
about? Does Shane have a topic that he wants to talk about? Is that
Is
why
there
we're
a-
doing
I
this?
have one, but it's yours, Griffin. If you want it, roll with it.
So you have a choice of Griffin. You have a choice of what's the title, Shane, of this week?
Turkey trot.
Turkey Trot. So you have the choice of Turkey Trot, or Happy Adults.
Turkey trot.
Turkey Trot. Okay. What is the Turkey Trot, Shane?
It is a 5-kilometer race in Summerlin, Nevada that I will be running on November 28th this year.
Oh, wow. Are you going to come and visit Griff Dog?
Possibly.
Well,
I mean, we haven't talked about it yet, but
Yeah, I
normally-
didn't know you were coming to town.
Oh, Shane, you ruined it. Now he knows. Now he's going to Now he's gonna Sloan mail lady you when you get into
Well,
town.
I'm trying to figure out what my family wants to do since it's Thanksgiving, So,
Yeah.
but
You guys are
Griffin, I
freaking-
will hit you up because I think we'll be there. I'm gonna be there till Sunday, so I'll hit you up like Saturday or something.
Yes.
Yeah, you
Well,
guys
what
are.
about
I'm running a half marathon next weekend, and you guys are talking about running like a 3-mile turkey trot.
That's right, baby, turkey trot.
yes, well, this is the Walk Like a Mailman family, so decide on what's more important.
A trot.
Yeah, the trot. That's fair.
So does anyone have anything else other than the turkey trot? That's we do have another show before Thanksgiving, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I was just wondering. I'm very bad with dates, as have previously stated on our podcast. But if you do want to do a guest spot like Shane on here, like he is right now, say
Mhm.
hello, Shane.
And if you do it enough, they'll accuse you of trying to usurp the throne. So always a fun time.
Yes, this is Game of Thrones. This is Game of Mail. Anyway, but if you want anything else or have anything else, you can text us on the listening platforms. Make sure you leave your name so we can give you credit unless you want to stay anonymous, or you can just email us at walklikeamailman@gmail.com. And
I wanna hear from
please,
you.
anyone, yes, everyone out there that's listening, follow, rate, review, slap that subscribe button, spread the word around the station. I mean, the whole point is just to try and spread the word and get other carriers to get in the know of Walk Like a Mailman. And we are just here for you guys. And if you want to help us out, it's completely free. Just rate, review, or subscribe. Anything else? One last moment for all of you all down to the...
Don't watch the mail lady.
Yeah,
Save
don't
yourself the
do
trouble.
it.
Don't do it. We
it.
care about you.
Yeah.
Yes. Don't do it. Yes. If
Just say no.
yes, and if you do everything always what others tell you. Just don't watch the movie. Or you could be like me and you can dance with the devil in the pale moonlight. Anyway, thank you.
Send hate mail to Jeff after watching the mail. Send it to walklikeamailman@gmail.com.
Don't read it on the show.
Yes, all of you out there, thank you for listening to Walk Like a Mailman, and I will see all of you down the road.
See you guys.
Postal characters through the TV glow, delivering stories on the go. It's the mail person of the show. Griffin tried to kill me, I'm still here. Mail person of the show.